I'm Johnny Massacre and welcome to the Johnny Massacre Show. This is the Thursday Night Massacre. On tonight's show, the Kraken of Pennsylvania and Diego Maradona is dead. Who's fucking with me? So, there's been a hearing in Pennsylvania on election irregularities. Now, I knew this shit was going on and I went on to Fox News to find out what was going on because, well, pretty much no other outlet is going to report on it that honestly in the mainstream media. And I was greeted with this. So, no news whatsoever of the Kraken of Pennsylvania being unleashed regarding voter fraud. So, what the fuck has happened to Fox News ever since they called, I think it was Arizona. Was it Arizona that they called early to Biden during the election? Ever since that moment, they have completely changed in tone. They used to be really pro-Trump, and they just threw him overboard during the 2020 election. It's really, really weird, to the point where they're not even reporting on this kind of bombshell news that's just dropped in Pennsylvania. Really bizarre. So I had to go over to Breitbart, of all places, in order to get the news regarding the Kraken of Pennsylvania. So come on over to my screen. Let's have a look at Breitbart. They say highlights of Pennsylvania Republicans hearing on election irregularities. Let's see what has happened. Everyone's been speculating about the Kraken, when and where it's going to be released. I've had so many theories about this. I love the way the Kraken has become so iconic in this whole voter fraud shambles. Sidney Powell, I believe, has recently popularized this phrase, and she is nothing short of a branding genius and a communications expert, because it has taken the public imagination by storm and people cannot stop talking about the Kraken, myself included. So the Kraken has been unleashed in Pennsylvania, and it has manifested in the form of 700 or 600,000 votes to Joe Biden and 3,000 votes to Donald Trump, pretty much at the same time, which looks like an astonishing irregularity. Let's get into the article. The article says, former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani appeared at a public hearing of Pennsylvania Republicans Wednesday to review his claims of voter fraud and election irregularities in the Commonwealth. The hearing was hosted by the Pennsylvania Senate Majority Committee, led by State Senator Doug Mastriano, at the Wyndham Hotel in Gettysburg. President Trump is relying on Giuliani and campaign lawyer Jenna Ellis to represent his legal battle to challenge 2020 election results in each state. An audience of Pennsylvania Trump supporters also appeared to listen to the presented evidence. All we ask is that you listen to the facts that we are presenting and then evaluate it, Giuliani said. Several witnesses appeared in person to describe the voting irregularities they witnessed as they were prevented from meaningful access to the voting process. Republicans were uniformly not allowed, kept out, put in chutes like they were cows to keep them away from seeing these ballots, Giuliani explained. Other witnesses explained that thousands of ballots were counted in secret as they were kept out of the room. Leah Hoops from Delaware County, Pennsylvania, said she served as a poll worker for 3 straight days as the results came in. What became of concern was the back room, which had no observers, no line of sight or transparency into the process. There was no cooperation, complete resistance from election night to every day after, she said. So that's quite sketchy. There's a room in the ballot counting place and no one can see it, and loads of ballots are being counted in there. What could possibly go wrong? That sounds like a magic room, does it not? Hoops said she and others were intimidated for coming out and signing affidavits about their concerns with the election. We have stuck our necks out, been intimidated, threatened, bullied, have spent countless hours away from our families, friends and jobs, she said during the hearing. Attorney Justin C. Queda, a certified Canvass observer, said he returned as an election observer for 10 days at the Philadelphia Convention Center. He said that Republican observers were kept between 10 to 200 feet away from the election counting process. 200 feet, come on now, that's taking the piss, don't make it that obvious. The article continues. It was impossible for me or any observer to see what the workers were doing with any type. Mate, you need fucking binoculars if you're going to see 200 feet away. That is so ridiculous if true. And the guy said it was impossible for him to see it for that reason. He also raised concerns about more than 500 damaged mail-in ballots that were duplicated by poll workers. What the hell? Other witnesses appeared via video teleconferencing to talk about their concerns with illegal pre-canvassing as Democrat counties contacted voters to help cure their ballots so they would be counted. One election observer testified that a poll worker repeatedly cursed at her and threatened to slap her in the face when she tried to verify some of the steps in the voting process, both symptoms of terminal TDS, Trump derangement syndrome. Giuliani also brought an election security specialist to talk about the voting systems in the United States. The expert questioned the anomaly of reporting spikes in the voting counts for Biden late in the evening as a prime indicator of fraudulent voting. No shit. Trump was winning, the Young Turks were melting down, and then when Biden looked like he was going to lose, suddenly they all stopped counting the votes, and then magically the next morning, there's loads of fucking votes, mate, and Biden had won. Nothing to see here at all. And then you look at plenty of graphs online from Michigan, Wisconsin, and you see a very believable looking curve of votes going up exponentially. And then suddenly, right at the death, Biden jumping over Donald Trump. And some people on the left have said, no, this was a glitch. Okay, if it was a glitch, why does that voter dump remain? Trump was winning, suddenly overnight, blam, Biden's way ahead in all the states he needed to win. How is that a glitch? So we're actually seeing some more evidence regarding these voter dumps, and this is very fucking interesting stuff. So let's get back into the article. It continues, the voter expert claimed that there was a discrepancy of around 700,000 ballots between the number of mail-in ballots sent out and the mail-in ballots that were received. The audience laughed and gasped in shock as the expert noted a point when a spike of votes recorded in Pennsylvania had 600,000 votes for Biden and only 3,200 for Trump. So Team Trump tweeted this out. They said, watch, crowd gasps after finding out that a mysterious spike of votes in Pennsylvania had 600,000 votes for Biden and only 3,200 for real Donald Trump. Ladies and gentlemen, may I present to you the Kraken of Pennsylvania.
So at the very beginning of the chart where there's a circle, it says on election day, what that indicates is there is a spike in loaded votes, 337,000 plus or minus of some votes that were added in there in one big batch. So that was an anomaly in the reporting. Normally you would expect to see a smooth curve going up, not any big spikes. That's kind of what Greg was talking about.
And may I interject for 1 second? Why were there no big spikes at any point during this election cycle before the point where Biden was losing and needed those votes to win? Why were there no other spikes earlier in the day? And why were all those spikes in the states that he desperately needed to win? Nothing to see here at all.
The anomalies of loading and uploading those votes. So that big spike that occurs there is a prime indicator of fraudulent voting.
And that's 604,000 votes in 90 minutes, is that right?
Correct. This is 337 votes, 337,000 votes in that
period of time.
Yes.
And when you look at this entire curve with all these spikes, can you calculate how much of a vote that accounted for Biden and how much for Trump?
Close to 600,000. I think our figures were about 570 some odd thousand that all those spikes represent over time.
For Biden?
Correct.
And how much for Trump?
I think it was a little over 3,200.
Okay, so please explain to me how this is even possible. Please, can someone logically explain this to me? So, of course, people on the left, the ideologues, I know what they're going to say already. They're going to say, well, Donald Trump said that you shouldn't do mail-in ballots, so like nobody voted for him. Okay, if that is the case, why is it only in the states that Biden needed to win, suddenly there was a huge box of 700,000 votes for him and 3,000 for Donald Trump at that perfect timing? And that didn't happen at any other stage during the election cycle in states that weren't contested. Please explain that. How can you suddenly amass a massive box like that? It is so blatantly fraud, if true. Now, here is the kicker. They're going to have to prove this. So we've already heard about the magic room at the back of the ballot counting place, and people couldn't see in there. Now, you can look at those irregularities, and they look fucking astonishingly bad, in my opinion. But you have to be able to prove it. You have to be able to prove that this big box of ballots is fraudulent. And if it's taking place in the magic room where you can't see it, fuck knows what's happened to those votes. Can they get hold of them? Can they check them? Can they cross-reference them? Doing a Biden there, the Alzheimer's is kicking in early. Can they cross-reference the votes against the voters? Because if they can do that, shit's going to get really fucking interesting. And this Kraken has teeth. That's what I want to see. If they can't do that, why not? Because the American people deserve a fair and transparent election. It's been undermined severely already, regardless of what side you're on. So what do the left have to hide? If this is the accusation, why don't they just let them have a look at the ballots, check them out, make sure they're legit? If they do that, then even I will say, do you know what? Maybe this wasn't fraud. But if they don't and there's pushback, things are going to start looking even sketchier. So there you have it. The Kraken of Pennsylvania has reared its ugly head from out of the choppy waters. Or the seven seas, as my mother would say, for sure. So that's pretty much your political news for today. In other news, Diego Maradona has died. Who is Diego Maradona? You must have heard of him. I know you Americans don't like football, and yes, it is called football. It's not called soccer, because actually, we invented that shit, mate. We invented tennis, we invented golf, we invented football, we invented rugby, we invented all that shit before you kicked our ass and you became way better than us. But still, Diego Maradona is a legendary footballer. Many would argue the best footballer of all time. There's this endless debate. Who's the best footballer? Is it Diego Maradona of Argentina, or is it Pelé from Brazil? Personally, I think Maradona is the best footballer ever. Now listen, if you're watching this and thinking, I don't give a fuck about football, then just take my advice. Go and watch Diego Maradona and see what he's like. Because he is one of those sportsmen that is so fucking good. Literally, anybody can watch him and appreciate him. He's up there with people like Michael Jordan, Mike Tyson, and Tiger Woods. So all of those respective sports, if you don't know anything about the sport, if you just watch their highlights on YouTube, anyone will have their breath taken away. And Maradona is one of those people. He's one of the most aggressive aggro cunts to ever set boots on a football pitch, mate. His skills were insane. He had the lowest center of gravity, and he used to rampage around that pitch like a bull with insane levels of confidence. You've never seen someone so confident. The stuff he tried was outrageous, and he scored basically the two most famous goals of all time against England in the World Cup when he put England out of the World Cup. One of them's known as the Hand of God, where he fisted the ball, for want of a better word, into the onion bag, into the back of the fucking net. So everyone hated him for that. My dad hates him for that reason. My dad would never agree that Diego Maradona was the best footballer of all time. But in the same game, after that dirty cheating goal, he went on and made up for it by scoring the greatest goal possibly of all time, where he basically dribbles the pitch on the world stage in the highest pressure environment and scores. And that guy has died, which is rather unfortunate. Now, the guy was an addict his whole life, which is very, very sad. And the guy lived an addict and he died an addict. And I hate to see shit like that. Some very, very close people in my life who I love dearly have suffered from alcoholism. And I know firsthand what it does. I've been to AA meetings. I know all about addiction and alcoholism. And if you haven't experienced it, you can't really have proper empathy for people who are either living with an alcoholic or who are an alcoholic themselves. People sometimes laugh when you say that, right? Oh, he's an alcoholic. Ha ha, funny. He drinks a lot. But actually, it is one of the most destructive things anyone can possibly succumb to, and it is an absolutely nightmarish thing. So I feel very sorry for Diego. He had a lot of alcohol problems all through his life, And there were times before where he had health scares, not just due to alcohol, but due to drugs. He had some kind of heart operation, I guess, or he had some heart failure at the very least due to cocaine. And right through to the end of his life, you can find videos of Diego Maradona partying. He just can't let it go. And I hate to see that. Some people manage to, or seem to have managed to conquer, or at least quell their demons and get them under control. Mike Tyson, who I previously mentioned, the iconic boxer, is one of those people. In fact, he's fighting this weekend, which is a great symbol of his conquering of addiction. Unfortunately, Diego Maradona couldn't quite do that. We might as well just have a look at a few pictures of the legend and have a look in the Daily Star, which is like this, it's this wicked British newspaper, right? Like basically, right, the working class people get it. I'm not really that working class myself, but big up to all the working class people making more money than all those twats who went to uni, did all those long courses and now in debt and making half the amount of money. Daily Star is a newspaper and they talk about Diego Maradona. Here you go. Daily Star says, Diego Maradona is dead. Argentina football legend dies age 60 after suffering an heart attack. They say, Maradona only turned 60 last week but suffered a torrid birthday as he had to be escorted from the sidelines as he watched Gimnasia, the Argentinian team he was manager of. The former Barcelona star was taken for brain surgery, but was reportedly on the mend. Flocks of fans turned up at an Argentinian hospital in recent weeks to wish their hero well as he battled to survive. There's a picture of him. I told you he was confident. That is an image of a guy who does not give a flying fuck. This guy, he owned that pitch. He knew he was the best. And look at that confidence. That is an amazing picture. That is personifiance. I'm getting so excited. I'm turning to Joe Biden again. That is confidence personified. Swinging his dick around the pitch with glee, as you can see. The article continues, they arrived with flags and banners while they chanted his name in support. Since leaving hospital, it is said the football icon had been in rehab for alcohol dependency. So there you go. That is alcoholism in a nutshell. Even after you've had brain surgery, you will still hit the bottle. It is a disease and people just cannot stop. And for anyone out there who's either living with an alcoholic or dealing with alcoholism themselves, may I say a prayer for you. And I truly hope that you can conquer your demons, because I wouldn't want to see that cursed upon anybody. So it's a shame Diego had to go like that before he could conquer the demons. But hey, the man is a fucking legend. We all have our demons. And the guy is probably the greatest footballer of all time. So he didn't do that badly when you look back on his life. And I just finally want to say, Argentina fucking love this guy. He is a god in Argentina. He's a god. They're already talking about renaming stadiums after him. And fights have broken out in the streets between people wanting to get close to his coffin. So let's have a quick look at the chaos that's going on in Argentina. Going over to The Sun, another British red top newspaper, as we call them. They say, agony of a nation, Diego Maradona death. Fans clash with cops as hundreds scramble to catch a glimpse of football legend's coffin. So as you can see, a rather portly fellow here with a tattoo on his calf, smashing with his bare fists against the riot shield of the Argentinian police in a bid to get close to the Argentinian football legend's coffin. The article says grieving fans of Diego Maradona have clashed with police as they scrambled to get a glimpse of him. Grief and passion boiled over as heartbroken supporters broke through barriers and brawled with riot police near the presidential palace. There's Maradona's coffin, emblazoned with his number 10 shirt. He probably made that position famous, did Maradona, the number 10. And there you go. So that's pretty much it for the news for today. Just wanted to share that with you. So finally for today, well, we did talk about the magic room where the Pennsylvania votes were being counted. So I've got a song for you called Magic Room, and I thought I will share it with you. So let's put it on and enjoy together. Here we go. This is called Magic Room by Dino Lenny. What's going on back there in that magic room? counting those votes. Is that a Kraken? Release the Kraken. It's the sound of a Kraken, baby. I can hear it thundering from the deep, coming to expose that magic room.
Well, this is a story about a man that walks into this big dark room. And this room is full of lights
and full of votes.
Full of smoke machines.
Full of votes.
And he feels like he's just in his old house.
The White House.
When he was like playing with his family on his little bike, feeling safe.
That's probably an Antifa soy boy.
Forgetting all his troubles. Forgetting what he needs to do, who he has to pay. And not just not feeling inferior.
Biden always feels inferior. Next to Trump, that's bottom line beta.
Worries on all the rules, what you can do and what you can't do just vanish.
Exactly.
What counts as respect. Respect your brother.
All the rules vanish in that room, and they respect the brotherhood of commie socialism.
Respect your brother.
Respect your comrade.
This room is a magic room, but it's really not about the room itself. It's about the people in the room. It's about the moments you share, the smiles, the looks, the music, the DJ.
DJ Johnny Massacre, bitches, the sound of your downfall. Let's go, Trump! Let's go, Trump! Let's save the country! Come on!
Instead of
release the Kraken of Pennsylvania
against the world. And you think, why can't we always live together like this?
In a socialist utopia, it ain't gonna work, bitch. It's a magic room.
Forever.
Yeah. Trump's gonna live forever.
Everybody's in the place. Everybody's in the place.
In the magic room.
It's wrong as long as I stay in the room.
But it's leaving the room soon, the truth.
But when I walk out, I just feel I'm lost in the gloom.
Damn right. Most Dems are lost today.
I left the smoke. I feel I'm lost in space.
Still getting high, you fucking hippie.
But it's okay. I've got all my friends in the place.
Yeah, your friends will fucking lie and cheat for you, but the Kraken's coming.
Everybody's in the place.
Unleash the Kraken. You are listening to The Magic Room by Dino Lenny. One of my favorite songs of the moment. Absolutely beautiful piece of music. That guy blew me away. Dino Lenny is the best producer I've heard in at least the last 3 years, possibly up to the last 5 years. He has a masterful grip of music theory, but he kind of serves it up in a very restrained way, in a very abstract way, and a very melancholy way. There's no one who's making techno quite like this guy, so make sure you check him out. And also make sure you check out my music. If you're new here, you might want to check out Ultrasound, which is my biggest song with about 9 million YouTube hits. That's a good introduction to my legacy. Make sure you check that out. I've been Johnny Massacre, and I tell you what, mate, you better be back for the next video. Otherwise, I'll be coming around your house. Make sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell, because that is what all those other cunts tell you to do. Laters.